Good day and welcome to Bible Story Time with Amy. This is chapter 2 of Rebekah's story, titled The Stranger Welcomed. Genesis 24, verses 28 to 33, reimagined in Rebekah's voice. The weight of the golden bracelet still pressed against my wrist as I ran. My breath came in bursts, my sandals kicking up small clouds of dust along the path. The evening shadow stretched long, and the first stars flickered awake in the heavens. My heart pounded, not only from the run, but from the magnitude of what had happened. I burst into our courtyard, startling the servants who were tending to the lambs. My mother looked up from where she sat with her weaving, her brows knitting in concern. "Rebecca, what has happened? Why do you look so flushed?" I held out my arms, the gold catching the firelight. "A man," I gasped. "A traveler with camels. He asked me for water. I gave him to drink, and I watered his camels also. Then he placed those upon me and spoke of my grandfather Nahor. He is of Abraham's household." Before my mother could reply, my brother Laban rushed forward, his eyes always sharp and restless. Fixed immediately on the glittering ornaments, he grasped my hand, turning them so the gold caught the lamplight. "Where is this man?" he demanded. "Where did you leave him?" "At the well," I answered, still breathless, "with his camels." Laban did not wait another word. He threw a cloak around his shoulders and strode out of the house, his pace urgent. I followed behind, though not as swiftly, my mother calling after us. The night deepened. As we reached the well once more, there he was, the stranger, still standing near the camels, his posture humble, as though he waited not on us, but on the Lord himself. When Laban approached, the man bowed down, his face to the earth. "Come, blessed of the Lord," Laban said, his tone warm, though his eyes flickered often to the wet-laden camels. "Why do you stand outside? I have prepared the house for you and a room for your camels." At his words, servants hurried ahead to spread straw and fodder, to lead the camels into the courtyard. I watched as the man entered our home, his steps careful, reverent. The scent of the desert clung to him still, yet there was something noble in his bearing, something that seemed quiet, something that seemed to quiet even my brother's restless curiosity. When we had brought water to wash his feet and those of his companions, my mother set food before them. An aroma of roasted meat and bread filled the air, but the man raised his hand, shaking his head gently. "I will not eat," he said firmly, "until I have told my errand." His words settled over us like a hush. My father Bethuel had entered by then, leaning on his staff, his eyes sharp despite his age. He gestured for the man to speak. "Speak then," he said. The man's voice trembled, not with fear, but with awe. "I am Abraham's servant," he began. At once, silence deepened. The name Abraham carried weight in our household. He was a kingsman who had left long ago, called by the voice of the Lord to an unknown land. Rumors of his blessings had reached us over the years. Flocks multiplied, tents spread wide, sons born against all hope. The servant continued, recounting all with painstaking care. Abraham's wealth, the promise of God, the command to find a wife for Isaac, not among the Canaanites, but from his own kin. He spoke of his prayer at the well, of the sign he had asked from the Lord, and then his gaze turned to me. Before I had finished praying in my heart, he said, his eyes glistening, "Behold, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulders. She drew water, and when I asked for a drink, she not only gave me to drink, but said, 'I would also draw for your camels,' and she did so, until they had finished drinking." A chill coursed down my spine, not of fear, but of holy reverence. I would not I had not known that in my ordinary act of service, I had stepped directly into the answer to a prayer whispered to heaven. The servant lifted his hands as though in worship. Then I praised the ring on her nose and the bracelet on her wrist. I bowed low and worshipped the Lord, who has led me straight to the house of my master's relative. My father and brother exchanged a long look, one that held both astonishment and gravity. My mother sat silently, her lips parted, her eyes fixed on me. I lowered my gaze to my hands, the gold still gleaming against my skin. My heart beat like the hooves of running horses. What had begun as an ordinary evening journey to the well had unfolded into something eternal, and deep within me, I felt the quiet uncertainty that this was only the beginning. Lessons of faith. When God rewrites the story, He weaves together prayers spoken far away with actions taken in the ordinary moments of our lives. His hands moves in a thin thread, binding our steps onto His greater plan. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the story, please kindly share, like, and subscribe. I would also love to hear your lessons of faith in the comment section. Have a blessed day. Thank you.